Hi, friends. Nice to see you again. I have a book today that you may have heard before. And if you have, that's okay. Now, good books need to be read again and again and again. And sometimes that's what makes a good book a good book. It's just the fact that you want to read it again and again, or it has a message that we need to hear again and again. This is a story about connections. And we talk a lot about connections in kindergarten, how we're connected to other people. And we start to realize sometimes that we may be connected to people we never knew we have a connection with. And all of a sudden, the world seems a lot smaller and a lot less scary when we realize how we're connected to other people and how we really can help take care of each other. This is a story about that. Now, when you first come to kindergarten, it's a little bit of a challenge. It can be a little bit of a challenge on your heart. But do you know, when you do brave things, you actually grow? We talked yesterday about growing and changing, but when you do something brave, your heart actually grows a little. And this is a story about that. Now, when you start kindergarten for the first time, all of a sudden it feels a little bit like you're leaving people that you're connected to and you're going into a new place. And that does take a lot of courage. But then you start to realize, hey, just because I'm going somewhere else doesn't mean that I'm not connected to those people I love anymore. It means that no matter what I'm doing throughout the day, I'm doing it with them. I'm carrying them in my heart, and they're carrying me. And even though we're doing different things, we're still very connected. And at the end of the day, we can come back together and share what our days were like and what we did. So this is a book called The Kissing Hand. You may have read The Kissing Hand before. It's by Audrey Penn and illustrated by Ruth Harper and Nancy Leake. And this is just a story about that. It's a story about a raccoon, Chester Raccoon, and how Chester Raccoon realizes that he has a connection with somebody he loves. In this story, it's his mom. And how just because they go in different directions, even though they go in different directions, they are still very much connected. I'd like to share it with you. And then we have a project that goes with this book. The Kissing Hand by Audrey Penn. Chester Raccoon stood at the edge of the forest and cried. "I don't want to go to school," he told his mother. "I want to stay home with you. I want to play with my friends and play with my toys and read my books and swing on my swing. Please, may I stay home with you?" That's a little bit how I felt on the first day of kindergarten. I wasn't quite sure I wanted to go. Once I went, though, it was great. And look at me now, I'm a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Raccoon took Chester by the hand and nuzzled him on the ear. "Sometimes we all have to do things we don't want to do," she told him gently, "even if they seem strange and scary at first. But you will love school once you start." That's something I know is true about you. Give it a little while and you will love school. I have yet to meet a kindergartner. In all my years of doing this, there has not been one kindergartner that hasn't said after a little while, "I love school." Promise. You'll make new friends and play with new toys, read new books and swing on new swings. Besides, she added, I know a wonderful secret that will make your nights at school seem as warm and cozy as your days at home. Chester wiped away his tears and looked interested. A secret? What kind of secret? A very old secret, said Mrs. Raccoon. I learned it from my mother, and she learned it from hers. It's called the Kissing Hand. The Kissing Hand? Asked Chester. What's that? I'll show you. Mrs. Raccoon took Chester's left hand and spread open his tiny fingers into a fan. Leaning forward, she kissed Chester right in the middle of his palm. Chester felt his mother's kiss rush from his hand, up his arm, and into his heart. Even his silky black mask tingled with a special warmth. Mrs. Raccoon smiled. Now, she told Chester, whenever you feel lonely and need a little loving from home, just press your hand to your cheek and think, Mommy loves you, Mommy loves you, and that very kiss will jump to your face and fill you with toasty, warm thoughts. She took Chester's hand and carefully wrapped his fingers around the kiss. Now, do be careful not to lose it, she teased him. But don't worry. When you open your hand and wash your food, I promise the kiss will stick. Chester loved his kissing hand. Now he knew his mother's love would go with him wherever he went, even to school. That night, Chester stood in front of his school and looked thoughtful. Suddenly he turned to his mother and grinned. Give me your hand, he told her. Now I just had a thought. Chester is going to school at night. Why in the world do you think Chester's going to school at night? I want you to think about that for a minute and see if you can figure out why he might be going to school at night. Looks like there might be some other animals going to school at night too. I wonder what kind of bird that could be. I wonder what kind of bird flies at night. Oh, you're right. You were wondering, why does he go to school at night? He's a raccoon, that's right. Raccoons are awake at night. They're called nocturnal. They're awake at night, and they sleep during the day. Wouldn't make sense if he went to school during the day, would it? A lot of animals are nocturnal, and they come out at night. Chester's one of those. So, of course, he's going to school. Chester took his mother's hand in his own and unfolded her large, familiar fingers into a fan. Next, he leaned forward and kissed the center of her hand. You've noticed that picture before, huh? There's that same illustration. You're right, it's right on the cover. Good memory. Now you have a kissing hand too, he told her. And with a gentle goodbye and I love you, Chester turned and danced away. Look at all the other nocturnal animals. Fox and skunk and deer and rabbit. Mrs. Raccoon watched Chester scamper across the tree limb and enter the school. And as the hoot owl rang in the new school year, she pressed her left hand to her cheek and smiled. The warmth of Chester's kiss filled her heart with special words. Chester loves you, it sang. Chester loves you. Do you know what? I remember we saw a bird flying into that tree. Do you remember that? Let's go back and look. Right there. I bet that's the teacher, the owl. What do you think? There was a clue in this book. Sometimes you find little clues that tell you what's going to happen. There's that character again, showing up. And there's the owl and all the animals and the owl's teaching. Sometimes an ending doesn't have words because we know what's the way it's ending and what's going on. Sometimes an author just likes to leave us with an illustration. Then we have to do some thinking. What's going on? How is this ending? I love you. Now in a minute, you're going to do your own kissing hand. And that can be something that you'll share with somebody you're connected to at home. See you soon. So today we're going to work on our own kissing hand. And this is a good way to remind you of who you're connected to and who you carry in your heart wherever you go. There's a little poem that goes with this activity, and it goes like this. It says, The Kissing Hand.
Whenever you feel lonely and need a little loving, just press this hand against your cheek and know that loves you. Now you get to decide who loves you. Now my Nana was a very special person in my life, and even though she isn't with me anymore, I still carry her very deeply in my heart. So I'm going to write Nana right here, and you can have a grown-up write the person's name that you want to put here. Now what I'm going to do once I write that is I am going to glue this down. Get my glue stick. Here's my glue stick. Sorry for my squeaky chair. I can hear it when I reach for my glue stick. And I'm going to put glue on the back. And glue this down right at the top here. There we go. And now this is the fun part. And you might need somebody at home to help you with this, just to keep your hand still and help you trace. But I am going to trace my hand right on this piece of paper. And that means following the outline of the hand with a crayon. Voila, there's my hand. And I need to add a heart. Now when you're cutting, you want to put if you have scissors at home, you put your thumb through the little hole and 2 fingers through the big hole. And you don't need to turn your hand much when you're cutting. You're going to cut just like the scissors are coming straight out of your belly button. This is your driving hand. This is your steering hand. Okay? So what I like to do is only turn the steering wheel, and this hand just goes driving down the road, and this steers it, just like this. Steer. If I need to grab it in a different spot, I can. Steer. Steer. Oh, it came to a stop sign. You know what I need to do? Turn the steering wheel. Turn the steering wheel. Turn the steering wheel. Turn the steering wheel. And voila, heart. Now I'm going to put my heart in my kissing hand right here. And then I'm going to add some decorations. I might put my fingernails in here. Not a big thumbnail, but that's okay. And I like to put some stripes on my fingers. I like to count as I go. I put 4 stripes in each finger. And now I'm going to add some polka dots. What color shall I use? This is a nice color. Reddish purple. Polka dots, polka dots, polka dots. I might even put some polka dots on this side. What else to decorate my kissing hand? Maybe some blue. I'm going to put waves because I like the ocean. Waves. Maybe more waves. Well, that looks good. Now, I'm going to put some stars. I can't use yellow because the paper's yellow. I'm going to use some red again. And I just like to make X's and lines through them. And there we have it, my kissing hand. And if I were a kindergartner, I would give this to my Nana to put on her refrigerator. And then she could have it and remember me, and I could remember her. Hope you have fun. Guess I'm running out of screen time here. See you soon.